The third lesson you're going to learn in business is super important. I've kind of covered it when I discussed two, but this is very important. Start ideas for free. People come to me all the time, Andrew, I have an idea for a business. Maybe you need a small investment. It's normal. Let's say you're developing an app, you need to invest in the app or something. That happens. But a lot of people ask for insane amounts of money. 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand. Oh, to start my business. You can start businesses very, very cheaply if you do it the right way.
One thing that I want to add that might be a sort of a game changer for many of you, or at least change your mind about something. Tate gets this probably infinitely more than I get it, and I get it a lot. I get a lot of people saying, hey, Arno, I got this idea. I got a great idea. Everyone has ideas. Ideas are basically shit. They're a dime a dozen. Everyone has ideas. Usually, I'm not even talking about the quality of the idea. Maybe you have the best idea on the face of the planet. I don't know. Usually the ideas are shit as well. But let's say, just for argument's sake, that you have an amazing idea. The idea in itself is worth very little. One of the most annoying things that I get is that people say, I got this idea and I want to sell it. Got this idea, I want to get paid for it. Got this idea and I want someone to do something with that for me. Then you don't understand. Like, the idea in itself is worth nothing. Zero. Nothing.
If you start a makeup company this way, you need minimum 200 grand. You need an office, you need logos, you need trademarks, you need stock, you need staff, you need company incorporation, you need tax, you need accountants, you need advertising budgets. You need 200 grand, 200K to start this business. If you start business this way, make a website, put some pictures on there, pretend you've got a whole bunch of stuff you ain't got, and start getting money in, you can start this business for 5 grand. Let's say for the website, 5 grand. That's 195 grand difference. Now, the problem with this business is you're going to start getting money in and you're not going to have any way to fulfill the orders. But back to business lesson number 1, because you're a fast worker, because you're industrious, because you work with speed, you'll find a way to fulfill the orders. Hey, listen, worst case, you give them the money back. Worst case, you refund them. But at least with this idea, you can test the viability of your plan, 1. And 2, you're not in the hole. So let's assume both companies are bound to fail. Here you've lost 5 grand. Here you've lost 200 grand.
Very important point, by the way. A lot of ideas that you're going to test are going to fail. It's just a thing. Like no one has 100% success rate. No one comes even close. And that's absolutely fine. And the example that he gives with the idea, testing the idea, costing 5K, probably it's even cheaper, right? You know, you set up the website, test out the idea. Maybe you can even do it for $500. Possible. Just run the ad, see if there's demand, etc. The main gist of what he's trying to say is test cheaply. Make sure that you don't bet the farm on your idea, because many times, for whatever reason, it doesn't work out. Absolutely fine. Just keep going. Test on a small scale. Super, super important.
Why risk all that money when you can do it cheap? Also, with 5 grand startups, you can now, for the same price as starting one company, you can now start 40 companies. One of them's going to work because they're 5 grand each to start. One of them's going to work. So you have to learn that the idea of starting a business is not expensive. Get that out of your head. I'm a millionaire.
And by the way, I can corroborate this. The start of the real world, the thing that you're watching this in now, I was there at the beginning. I was there when the idea was conceived. I have the privilege of working with Andrew and Tristan and Luke, so some of the brightest minds, I believe, in business that are available today. I saw how this began. I saw how this started. I was part of it. And it was way less than 5K that in terms of budget. Yet the idea, we started putting it into practice. It's not like because you now have $100 million that if you have an idea, you just pump $1 million into it just to see how it goes. This is like a general concept of life where you want to see, does it have viability? And obviously, yes, from the start, we had millionaire professors, not because that is like a the way that things usually go. It's when you have a network of people, when you know the right people, when you have a great idea. Obviously, other people want to be a part of it, so that really helped, that you have a group of powerful people to do this with. But I can tell you, the first few months, very little budget was pumped into this, and money in new members was the main focus. And the only thing that we talk about is like, how can we make it better? How can we make it faster? How can we get people more results? This is exactly the way that the real world was started. And I just wanted to say that he's not talking out of his ass at all. Like, this is exactly the way he functions. And basically any business can do this. And obviously, I think we're going to go into that in the near future of this video. But obviously, like, if you're trying to set up, I don't know, a company that makes metal sheets or anything, yes, you need machinery, blah, 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 etc. Yes, okay, obviously. But the absolute vast majority of ideas can be done really, really cheaply and quickly. Much more economic or cost effective than most people realize. And this is coming from someone that has done quite a few years of business school, read over 1,000 books on business. And I can tell you, this is some of the most hard-hitting advice that you can get about testing ideas. Very powerful.
$5,000 max. I'll spend $5,000, and if I see money coming in, maybe I'll invest some more. Or when the money starts coming into the makeup company, you might reinvest all the money. That's fine, because that ain't your money. That's money you're making. You can build a company off the money you're bringing in from the company and never spend your own money.
Mr. Beast, the famous YouTuber, I think he basically said this in an interview where he made money with a video, and all of the money he made basically got rolled into the next video, the next idea. Very clever, very obsessed individual in a good way.
That's how you launch a company. Now, every time I say this, people go to me, oh, well, what about this? What about that? If you're going to launch a fucking airplane company and try and compete with Boeing, you need money, obviously. But I'm talking about for you guys out there, this is the Hustlers University. If you're looking at making money, starting a new company, or you already have a small company, some of the biggest mistakes you can make is investing lots of money. When you're broke, it's hard to make mistakes because you don't have any money to lose. When you're rich, it's easy to make mistakes because you have a lot of money to lose. Start companies as cheaply as possible, basically for free, by prioritizing money in and not prioritizing fulfillment. That way, you get to start companies cheap. You can start a lot of them, you have money coming in the door, and you can reinvest money you're making in your company and build your company from the ground up. Every company I ever made, including T2 Television, was done this way. When I got my first deal for T2 Television, I had a BlackBerry and a business card. And I went to their office and I signed the deal. I had a business bank account that was free, no tax incorporation, nothing. They paid me and I used that money to buy an office. Done. I started a television advertising agency like this. I didn't get an office first. Office, staff, computers, desks. I didn't have any money. I had the $12,000 from the commission, but I was saving that for myself in case it all went wrong. I could have blown my whole $12,000 and set up the office. But no, I bought a laptop. I had a laptop. I bought a BlackBerry, had a business card, landed my first deal, and set up my whole business off of money already coming in. And if you can do that with an advertising agency, you can do that with nearly anything. This is television advertising. This is like premier shit back in 13, 14 years ago, before the internet was big almost. Everyone wanted to be on TV. That's how you start companies. I started an advertising company with a fucking BlackBerry. This is how. This allows you to start more businesses and allows you to see what's viable and what's going to make money and what isn't without risk. It's extremely important you approach businesses this way and not businesses this way. It is extremely important. Get this in your head. These first 3 lessons about speed, about money in being priority over everything else, and about starting businesses with this focus as opposed to the cost focus, money in as opposed to fulfillment, that's good. I've already taught you more than you're going to learn about business anywhere else. That's key, because if you do things this way, it's very hard to have a monumental fuck up. It's very hard to lose money. And also, now you can start nearly any company. You can start nearly any business. Give me a business. Name something completely random.
A record label?
A record label.
By the way, I want you to pay close attention to this. This is some of the my favorite stuff from Tate when he just name me anything and I'll you get a sense of the creativity and the process going on between his ears, which is one of the most interesting things to see. When someone really, really good at something can sort of improvise and give some spontaneous advice like he's about to do now, pay very, very close attention because it's super, super interesting. You see the process of how his mind works.
So, record label, what do you have? This is completely on the fly, record label. So, let me wipe my board. This is completely on the fly, unprompted. We're testing my business genius for the Hustlers University. Let me clear my beautiful diagram here. Right, so how does a record label make money? Make. We have make and we have costs. So a record label makes money by selling records, correct? I've never run a record label, so I might be wrong. So you have to sell records. Now, a record label is a digital product, so it's actually harder than makeup, because how can you sell records you don't have? So what I'd be looking to do first thing is test my distribution channels. So costs, you need to find records you can instantly supply, unlike a makeup company. So you need to find artists which are, I wouldn't say struggling, but there's certainly, you need to go out there and find some artists which don't want money up front. So you need to work out some kind of commission deal with artists and say, look, we're gonna give you X amount on the basis of the sales. So you have to find, we're gonna put broke boys. Because it doesn't, you know what, at this point, especially with a record label, although you need good quality artists to have a good reputation as a record label, if you have shit ones at the beginning, it doesn't really matter. If you have some shit ones and you sign Rihanna later on, is anyone gonna be like, oh, they have Rihanna now, but 3 years ago they had that crap band no one's heard of. They ain't gonna care. It's not gonna damage your reputation. So at this point, you can just get broke boys. Get broke boys, offer them a commission deal to make to try and sell records. So let's say we're selling a record for £1. Let's say it's a 50-50 split, 50-50. Now you've got distribution channels. How are you gonna sell the records? Where are you gonna sell them? Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. You have to test the distribution channels, test them out. Test out an independent distribution channel. So let's say you do all the traditional distribution, traditional stuff. And let's say you want to try and sell some stuff independently. So let's say you start a website or you go on, is MySpace still even a thing for music?
No, what's the other one? SoundCloud or something like that.
Yeah, so there's a few other abstract ways you can try and sell money. You can try and sell records. Let's say through their own website or through SoundCloud, through some of the other ones. You can try some abstract methods. Now here's what I would do. I'm running a record label. I find broke boys. Broke boys agree to go a 50-50 split. I promise to sell loads of records. You have to promise, this is your job. So I promise to sell fucking 100,000 records a month. Some bullshit, I promise, I'd lie. This is what I do all the time, no big deal, 100,000 a month, easy, easy, easy. I'd get them, I'd put them across all the distribution channels. I'd see how many we sell.
Pay attention, by the way, because you might get the wrong message. I don't want you to pick up from this that just lie. That's not the point. The point is you sell the dream and you come in to the partnership, you come into the interaction, you come into the transaction by making it clear what your intentions are and by being confident in the fact that you can pull it off. Now, obviously, pulling it off is the next step, but we need to clear this hurdle first. I see a lot of people messing it up, trying to get their first sales job or trying to get a partnership. And then they actually say, yeah, I've never done this before. You're going to be like the first, but I'm sure like I'm going to learn quick. And I'm confident. Well, no, of course you're not. You don't want to, if you go into like an operating, if you have an operation, like let's say a medical procedure, right? And right before the doctor puts you under, he said, yeah, I just came out of school. You're the first guy that I'm going to try this on. Wish me luck. That's not what you want to hear. Don't tell me that. Shut up. Just be confident and give me the idea that you're actually going to make this happen. That's the main thing. Be confident in your ability to figure this out.
If we don't sell any, do you know whose fault it is? The broke boy's fault. I'll come back to him and go, okay, well, yeah, we have 2 of your songs. It's not enough. People don't know who you are. We need to produce some content to raise your profile. I don't know if you guys have any videos of you performing live. We need more music we can put out there. Da, da, da. And I would just continue to extract from the broke boys more videos, more songs, all for free, all based on a commission deal, and just put it out there. Speed, just like we said in number 1. Like I said, I've never run a record label in my life. This has come off the top of my head. Speed. Give me more, give me more, give me more. The more they produce, the more they give you, and the more you put out there. It doesn't matter. If you sell a little bit of each, you're going to start to make money. Look at what we do and what I do, all my different businesses. At this moment, I run CobraTake.com. I have the War Room, which is a business in itself. I have the webcam business. I have 2 YouTube channels. I have casinos. All I do, because it's just speed, scattergun. So in this kind of particular, if you're going to do a record label, you need to have as much as possible video and music that you can afford. And when I say afford, a commission-only deal, just constantly put out there, speed, on every single possible distribution channel. That's what you need to do. Then what you do is, when you have these boys everywhere, Broke Boys, the Broke Boy record band, you have them everywhere, and you have tons of their stuff, then you can approach someone who's not shit, or a little bit better. So we have the Less Broke Boys. Less Broke, well, right here. My terrible writing, because I'm writing at an angle. And when you go to Less Broke Boys, you can say, well, look at the Broke Boys. We've got them on Spotify, SoundCloud. They're on their own website selling. They're here. They're on iTunes. They're there. Look at this. This is some videos of them performing. Yeah, we use these for promotion. They're on this YouTube channel. They're on that YouTube channel. The Less Broke Boys will be like, oh, these guys, they actually got them a lot of promo.
I hope you picked this up, because it's something that I touched on in the previous video, what Andrew does, and it's super interesting. Now you have social proof. Do you see that? It's the same thing in with the previous story about the television advertising business, where it's forward momentum, where you take massive action. Because of you taking massive action, you start building social proof. You start building sort of a portfolio. There's stuff happening. People can see it. There's, movement. There's forward momentum. And you use that, you leverage that into more forward momentum. This is what he does. And you have to start seeing the commonalities between implementation of an idea across different business units, different kinds of businesses. It's the same thing all the time, right? It's just you doing a lot of things and leveraging that into doing even more things and showing to people, like, look at all the stuff that we're doing. It's amazing. Well, and you build upon it. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
What did you really do? All you did was extract it from these guys. Now the Less Broke Boys might want to work with you. Maybe you don't give them, maybe there's a slightly better commission deal. Maybe they get 60, you get 40. Take their shit. Before you know it, you're going to have a catalog of stuff. So people go, who's this record label? You go, well, bang. And you type any of those bands in, and they flood the internet with things. Now you're a real record label. Now new bands, up-and-coming bands want to work with you. Just because the amount of promo you put them everywhere. One of these up-and-coming bands might be the next big thing. Who knows? All I've done in this business model, I don't know anything about record labels. All I've done is stick to my tenets of business. 1, this is free. This is free. This is running a record label from your bedroom. Doing all this is some work on your computer, putting them on iTunes and making a website, whatever. That's all fucking free. Negotiate with the Broke Boys you can do in a Costa Coffee or a Starbucks. So this is a free business I've just given you. 1, it's free. 2, we've prioritized money in. The first thing I wrote is, how do we make the money? How do we make the money? We sell records. Okay, so we need this, we need this, we need this. Prioritize making the money. And the third thing I did was speed, quickly. Get out, get out, get out. Tell the Broke Boys to make more. Tell the Broke Boys to start a daily vlog of them recording. A daily vlog of what it's like in the band. Start putting out on a YouTube channel. Speed, 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 more. Give me, content, nonstop. Speed. All I did was stick to my 3 basic business principles. Now, imagine you try this for 6 months and it doesn't work. Have you lost money? No. What did you lose? You didn't have a big fancy office. You didn't lose nothing. What's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? Nothing. And that is the exact point I'm trying to teach here. If you stick to these 3 tenets in nearly any business, you'll launch it for basically nothing, and nothing can go wrong. Nothing can go wrong.
All right, so what do we see? A couple things. 1, a lot of people walking around with the limiting belief that starting a business, testing an idea is extremely expensive, it's hard, takes massive amounts of capital, massive amounts of risk. Let go of that belief, because it's not real. It's not true. You can start almost anything, test almost anything very, very cheaply, very, very quickly. So that's one. Two, when you start a business, when you test an idea, first thing you need to understand is like, how am I going to make money? How am I actually going to get money in? And once you know that, now we have to look at what are all of the different ways we can make that happen. So we're going to take massive action. Now, because you're trying to mitigate risk, because you're trying to do it as cheaply as humanly possible, we're going to have to probably get some joint ventures going on, get some partnerships going on, have people work with us. When you do this, and when you're trying to sell your idea, trying to sell the dream, you want to be confident in you being able to actually deliver on your promises. What you want to do is basically say, this is what we're going to do. It's going to be awesome. We're going to take it to this level. We're going to go for it. It's going to be great. And that's what you're trying to do. You're selling the dream. Because again, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because now you know how you're going to make money. You know roughly what actions you're going to take. You're building a portfolio of people that you're working with. And you sort of roll it forward like a snowball off the hill. And you're trying to get momentum, trying to get it off the ground. And after taking massive action, you're going to have a portfolio. You're going to have something to show, to point at. Like, see, this is all the stuff that we're doing. It becomes a success because you will it into existence. That's basically what you're trying to do. You're not trying to buy the success. You're willing it into existence by taking massive action, by selling the dream and being confident about you pulling this off. And that's the way to test businesses, test ideas, basically for free. No risk. Now go for it.